My name is Keith Henley. I'm co-owner of the Guild Cinema. I've been working here since 1997. Took over in 2004 with a business partner. Bought him out in 2008, 2012 about. Don Sherry joined up.
Don Sherry, co-owner. I started working here shortly after Keith did, about 98 or so.
The film noir series is one of our favorites.
That's mine. That's mine.
Actually, experiments in cinema, because it's going back to my roots. We used to do a 70s drift film series that was one of my favorites because I really like the studio pictures from the 70s and 70s movies in general. I thought that was a great time for movie making as far as fictional narrative films go. But that series didn't do so well, didn't really catch on. Now everybody's about the 80s, which I'm less crazy about, but it's what people really like. So
yeah, we'll take risks here that other theaters won't as far as repertory stuff, older films. And of late, we've been trying to concentrate those films that match up with a given holiday, like Alice's Restaurant for Thanksgiving, Harold and Maude for Mother's Day last year. We're going to do Mommy Dearest and
Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Joe Crawford.
This Mother's Day.
I like doing the 35mm. You're more engaged with that. Digital's much easier. I don't know how Don would answer that question. I prefer celluloid film, projection, but it is more work. You got to be more on top of your game and stuff.
Yeah, I guess I miss film. What was the last film that we ran? Was it a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, it was Out of Print, which was about repertory cinemas around the country. Well, for me, I grew up in the Northeast Heights, Anywhere USA, and it was a show on cable television in the early 80s. I can find out how old I am. In the early 80s, Night Flight, and I saw an eyeball getting sliced in half. And I thought for the longest time that was Fritz Lang. And it was so powerful to me. I was so discombobulated. What the hell did I just see? That I pursued that. And I also had started reading some books about cult filmmaking. So I came across John Waters, the local library. I read about him. I had to find a video store in town that had Russ Meyer movies, John Waters. And so it all kind of escalated from that. It seemed like my kind of thing. So.
I was an applied fine arts major back east at the community college I attended before I transferred and graduated from UNM, and took a basic film class, history of film, and that got me interested in it. And then when I came to Albuquerque, I was a student here. I graduated in '79, and at that time we had more venues for showing kind of films at the Guild. And if I can add, one of the great things about the Guild in this kind of theater is that we engage the people who come to see the films in discussion about it, if they want to talk about it. And a lot of people do. They'll come out, they'll have a question about it, or make a comment, and we're prepared to engage them in the discussion.
It requires yelling and screaming.
So it's a different kind of theater in that way, too.
Yeah, we're approachable, it's homespun, and inevitably it's got a local flavor. Sometimes based on content, sometimes the subject matter is a little more risque, sometimes it's a little more penetrating,
Cutting edge.
so to speak.
Controversial.
The style in which they're done and made is a little bit different. Usually it's what's called independent films. There's no hard, fast definition of that. Best independent films are not just by budget, but by state of mind and the mentality that was made behind them, not just the budget. But that's another story. Not to go off on that, but we show a lot of documentaries here. Show a fair amount of foreign films. We have a late night series we do, the psychotronic drive-in type of movies, whether it be horror, sci-fi, drive-in type of films. We also from time to time have live bands perform soundtracks to shows. Sometimes we have a stand-up comedy night. Sometimes we have locally made films.
Well, there's a term that you like, and it's appropriate, community-based theater. So we're more in tune with the community as far as showing kind of films that people would like to see who might not have the opportunity to see otherwise, that are, say, issue-oriented. Every year we have the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival, and where better to have films like that than the Guild?
Just what taste, oh yeah.